All right, guys. So today is June 21st. It is 12:24. And I know it's been a while. The last video I made was in May. In like early May. I haven't made any videos, and like so much has kind of like transpired since that video. Not just, out here in the world, with COVID and Black Lives Matter, and also, excuse me, my album and the process of where we are with it. But I figured now is as good a time as any to give y'all an update on anything that's going on, anything that's happening. It's been, like I said, it's been a while. Sorry, I haven't had a lot to say. Even still, like, there's not much I really want to say, but I feel like it's pulling. Sorry. But or if I could take it down. But I will, keep it honest and tell you guys, what it is, what it isn't, all that good stuff. So, I'm missing my ring. It's at home. I think, tackle each thing at a time. If I don't feel like I need to create a video to explaining why Black Lives Matter. I feel like I don't need to create a video talking about that. I just want to uplift everyone who isn't out, who's fighting for the fight and the cause, from a political aspect, from supporting Black-owned business aspect, from posting or tweeting or whatever the case is. Like, because people are so interesting. People need to remember that, like, the Black Lives Matter movement doesn't only lie in just marches and protests and riots and things of that nature. Like, you can do your part through voting. You can do your part through tweets, calls to your local governments. Like, do your part in doing your part in helping people around that are suffering or going through it, or in moments where they need someone to protect them or stand up for them because they can't stand up for themselves. Like, I want to hold everyone in power that isn't out on the front lines but still is doing their part, and let it be known, like, you are loved, you are honored, you are cherished, you are respected. Because protests aren't for everyone. They're genuinely, they're not for everyone. I did a lot of my protesting and marches back when I was at Howard, and it was around the 2014-2015 timeframe, which also was when the Baltimore riots had kind of went down and things of that nature. And I was marching I was marching all the time. I was always marching, and for every cause that I believed in. So the Women's March, LGBT, trans, Black Lives Matter, the Me Too movement, when that kind of came into fruition, which is after. But I marched, and I started to realize a common theme of, like, people not genuinely there for the march, and they're more so there to, like, take a picture of themselves being there, or, like, just to say that they were there, but they're not really for the movement as they want to claim to be. They just want to enjoy the moment of the day and then go on about the rest of their lives as if it wasn't as if it didn't have purpose. And that turned me off, as well as being a Black trans woman, a multiracial trans woman in general, like a trans woman of color. Like, I stopped feeling comfortable because one of the marches I went to, one of the men, and I spoke about this, and then I didn't realize I actually spoke it into existence, about, like, one of the men I would be marching with or around or by was the same man that would in turn attempt to do harm to me because of who I was. And that was something that actually came to fruition, and I didn't, like, really talk about it. But, but just long story short, those two things really turned me off from wanting to feel like I needed to do protest. And so I started to become more of a person of, like, all right, let's figure out something. And it was also a lot of people who would, like, they would do the march and they'd act like that was the end of the fight. And it was like, bro, like, the march is really, really cute. It's real nice. It's real fun. It's real, like, empowering, but, like, it don't stop there. Like, there's work that has to be done. My roots are getting a little fuzzy. I need to get this redone soon. There's a lot of work that needs to be done outside of just the marches. We gotta like keep pushing this forward. And so this is where I started to do a lot of work behind the scenes and was like, let me start being a part of these at these tables and a part of these conversations in which we are taking the fight to our local government, which we're taking the fight to our mayors, that in turn also take the fight to our, our country's government and things of that nature. Like that's where my fights were. Like I said, even with the jobs that I do now, like that's where a lot of my passion and things go. I figure out how to do something from that aspect. And I don't protest or march anymore. So like as of now, like I haven't marched or protested since those marches that I named. So this whole time during Black Lives Matter, I didn't protest, I didn't march, I didn't riot, I didn't loot. But I still supported, I still argued against and all that other shit with people on social media. It did my best to uplift in a way that mattered. And then also, but on my own accord, like regardless of movements and things, I'm somebody who does for my communities regardless. So my budgeting, I make sure I always I donate a percentage of the money that I make myself for whatever it is I'm doing. I donate a portion of my money to HBCUs and and it's not like I'm balling, but I try to do and give something because I coming from an HBCU and having experience, there are things that I don't want HBCUs not to be here. Like knowing that is something that has been talked about of them trying to get rid of HBCUs, I don't want that to happen to any HBCU period. We've already lost more than enough. So I donate and I give back, and like I said, just things that I've been doing just in general for me and my community, regardless of whether you're Black LGBT or Black and straight and cisgender or whatever, I always look out for mine. Everyone that I work with, to companies that I actually support and I pay for to get certain things done. My nail tech is Black. The people who do my hair, the gentlemen that do my hair are Black. The people I do and record music with are Black, as well as the people who produce some of the majority of the beats actually are Black. Wardrobe stuff. Most of I worked the stylists that I've used in the past were Black. I don't know to even tell you, I'm a tattoo artist, Black woman. My marketing team at one point, my marketing team back then was all Black. And not just Black, some were LGBT, Black and LGBT. So it was like, regardless, as long as you were up under that purpose, I supported my own photographers, videographers, choreographers. Everybody from my team, from head to toe, was primarily Black. I think, I did what I felt like was the best thing to do, and that was something I wanted to make sure was always happening, was to present Black people the chance to showcase like their talent, what they can do great, and how we can support each other in our flourishment. So that's that on that. I don't really have much else to say. Just please stop shaming people for how they choose to do their part. And sometimes it's not always going to work out great, but that don't negate that sometimes people need to try and fail. COVID, as of right now, in DC, actually starting tomorrow on Monday, we are starting stage 2 of opening things. So hopefully with that being said, I'll be able to kind of try to get some things situated and handled before I move down to Georgia. Because there are things I needed the government to be a part that I had to do before I could just up and move, and I couldn't do that because everything is shut down. So now that things are slowly opening back up, I'm going to see what I can start working out and start, consistently keep moving the way I've been moving and do what I have to do to make things happen for myself. But finally, the album, so here's the funny thing about every time me and Dimitri, my engineer, and like my musical husband, every time we link up and we do a project together, there are two sure things that seem to be consistent. Me and him are going to like really bump heads at some point during the project, and we go through technical issues where it's like we have to replace certain things, certain equipment and things of that nature. Don't know what it is, don't know why, but it happens every time. But it doesn't mean, but it always like means like, okay, the project is probably going to be a little bop. It's going to be cute. And so far, like we already going through the technical shit right now. We had our disagreement like earlier on in the stage of creating, and it's been interesting. But since then, we've already started. We didn't complete them all, but we started recording 7 songs so far, altogether so far. So, we're doing a great job. We're off to a really great start. And what we've been coming up with just the records sound amazing. So, like, I'm, like, beyond excited. I'm like, yeah, I think this is going to be a really great project and a really great album. But, yeah, that's really the main things for me to say about updates as of now. I will check in with you guys later. And, I wish everybody well.